Mental health. I can't believe that the taboo or the stereotype around mental health still exists today in the 21st century. I mean, we all know that it is very important for all of us to take care of our physical health, but I think not a lot of us know that both emotional and mental health also plays a huge role for us being healthy. Since 2020, that is since COVID hit, we all have started talking about mental health in a lot of ways, in a lot of conversations through social media or even the television media. But I think there is still a lot of awareness or education which we all don't have or don't have the resources for. I mean, if we see, everyone around us is going through some kind of mental health issue. Like it can be anything from having stress disorders or having anxiety, anything. And we might come up with different kinds of solutions for the same, but I think these solutions will be short term or long term. The biggest thing that we don't do is talk to someone about it. I mean, it's very important for us to have that person or even a professional to seek help from. I have been advocating about mental health since 2020 August. I have learned a lot about it. I have had my own fair share of experiences. I have been diagnosed with anxiety as well. And it's recently that I accepted the fact that I'm non binary, but all my life I have been grown up, I have been brought up as a man. I'm not saying that mental health of other folks are not important, but I think men's mental health is really close to me. I have experienced a lot around it and I relate to it a lot. And June is considered to be Men's Mental Health Month. I know it's the last day today, but I really wanted to share something on that. So here I was in the office space, reached out to a few colleagues of mine, asked them random questions around their mental health and what they think about it, just with an intention to spark conversations, ask them to ask themselves questions around mental health and are they doing enough for it, and to make sure that they understand if you create a safe space for anyone, I think you will be able to, make them comfortable enough to share things with you, and you might also seek the same. So before the video starts, I really want to thank them for being comfortable and giving the consent for doing this video. And here you go. So, hi Varun. I just wanted to ask you this question, whether you take care of your mental health or not.
Hi Samad. I'm not sure about that question.
I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, Samad, I do. I started it recently in the times.
To the extent, yes, I do take care of my mental health. Yes, but not completely.
Yeah, I do.
I want to take care, but sometimes I tend to miss. But it's extremely important to take care of it.
So, do you do that? Like, even if it's sometimes, do you do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes. Hi, Samad. And definitely, yes, I do take care of my mental health.
To be very honest, someone is asking me about this very first time.
And would you like to share how do you do that?
Yeah. So I try to pause for a moment whenever I'm getting stressed or low. So I see why it is happening, and I tend to see that it's okay to be low and probably sad at times. And then I try to probably digress myself and be busy with people around me that will make me happy and move more on.
Generally, when I'm getting stressed, I feel that my mental health is going to be suppressed because when I get stressed, basically due to my work pressure and managing all the works. So I do take care by taking a good nap, or else I'll travel somewhere else where I can find a lot of peace. Generally, I do like traveling. So when I'm stressed, I do whatever the things I like.
Okay, so I started playing football since I was in 5th grade. So football, yes, I really like playing football. So every now and then I go play football and I enjoy playing football. So that's how I release my stress and it makes me feel happy. So I think that could be one of the way how it helps me really, manage all the stress that I normally get.
My major stress busters are like listening to music, and even when I was child, I used to go to the classes. So whenever I am kind of some stress or something like that, then I do put some karaoke and do some music stuff of thing in my home, and that is like major stress buster of mine. And there are some people in my life whom I talk when I have something to talk to or something related to any stress, something like that. And one of the major person is my father. So whenever there is something I am confused or something I'm really overthinking about it, then I speak to him. So he gave his experience, input, something like that, and then I feel good. And I have my partner whom I share everything. So even she really helped me in such kind of situation.
And what do you do to take care of it?
So I have these activities that I keep aside. One is playing online games with friends all across the globe. So that is one me time where I kind of de-stress myself, no matter what happens in office. That and it's not a small amount of time. Almost it goes up to 2-3 hours in a
Okay.
day. So, but yeah, when I do that, I completely kind of moves away from the entire work, hope, all of those, and spend purely focused on that. So that is one way I do it. But I have been recently, it's coming down, the time is coming down, so I do have to figure out how to make it better now.
Yeah, I'll go out with my friends, I'll go to watch movies, I'll go and play some games, and I read some books, I'll go binge watching and everything to get out of this.
When I'm disturbed inside my mind, I usually go for a long ride on my bike, or else I just figure it out by just doing some DIY inventions or anything like that. But I haven't given it such a huge kick in my life, taking that emotions of mental health, mental health. So I'm not aware of that concept very much and not used to that. But yeah, sometimes when I feel alone and depressed, I usually go for a long ride and DIY.
Yes, like it's just that I keep myself distracted by like kind of going into workouts or doing the things which I like the most, and this is the way how I kind of tend to make my mental health into a stable condition, I guess.
It's been a long time that I haven't for the most part of my life, but later I've realized its importance in my life and how it affects me, taking care of it, how it actually takes me forward. So what I did was I do have a lot of people who are negative for that, who actually have a huge impact on my mental health. It can also be parents. For a while it was my parents, coming from a deep South Indian family. It is well known for everyone that parents play a huge role in
they do.
mental health, and as we are mard ko dard nahi hota kind of family, so I was told that there's nothing as such as mental health until and unless you have money and you do your job, it's done. Oh yeah, mental health, and there is nothing more to that. And I have realized that it's not right. It's not right. Of course, the hard way. And so I am in a place right now where I have filled my environment with people that can actually help me, give that positivity and also support me in my bad days, okay, which I don't have previously in my life, which affected me a lot. But now as I've filled people around me, filled with people who are good enough, who can understand. If I tell them that, see, I'm not having a good day, okay, this is what I'm going through, okay, I get a good vibe from them. They'll tell it's okay to be bad, to have bad days in your life, and that's how you can tell apart from good days and bad days. And mental health usually plays a huge role on like how you're gonna do that. Okay, so for me, mental health is the most important thing, and if that goes the other way, there is no other way. But like if that goes the other way, you'll not have a way to live your life.
If someday someone actually comes to you and they ask you, or they try to, like, they're really comfortable with you first, for example, and they're really stressed out and they want to share but they're not able to, so what would you do? What is that one thing that you will do to make them more comfortable to share something with you?
I think I'll first give them the assurance it's okay to have this kind of a feeling, being low or sad. And I went through a stage of depression myself about 3 years ago, especially during the COVID period. So I would share my experience and how I dealt with it. Probably that will give them more comfort.
So first of all, I will just go in a kind of like supportive way to make them understand that like I am there to solve this issue for you, and so that they come out and let me know whatever the things they are going around their life.
That's
And
great.
then I share whatever the experience I have. If something is relevant, then I will share my insights on that. Then or else I take him for a movie or something like that. And I love driving a car, so I often go to a long drives. So
Oh yeah, I
take
think
them.
that will be really helpful.
Yeah.
If you had to make someone, comfortable to talk about their mental health, can you tell me one thing that you would like to do for them to make sure that they are able to trust you and talk to you? A man, basically.
Yeah, so I think I had it from one of your Instagram stories, which says when somebody comes to you say something, it's not your story, it's their story. You have to remember that when somebody is coming, if you maintain that trust, they'll come and say those things.
So the very first thing which I would do is that, kind of specifically talking about that would be I'll listen to that particular person, because I'm a very good listener as well. And if someone has been suffering through a lot, so first and foremost priority for us is to, kind of at least listen to that particular person and let them open up in front of you. Because until and unless they don't kind of, kind of open up, or they just keep all things to their self, it's very difficult for that individual person. So the first thing is that we need to make sure to, kind of just what I would do is personally I'll just sit and I'll just let that particular person speak, and I'll let that particular person open up, because once they open up they would be very much comfortable and they would actually share each and every particular thing. And then my duty or my responsibility would be like to just make him feel or make her feel comfortable enough to kind of I'll provide a kind of a solution from my end. I'll try my level best.
When was the first time you ever got to know about mental health?
Probably when I started my college. No, actually when I started my work.
Okay.
That's the first time I knew, because the work culture or my first job, they were very focused on mental healthness, and I actually was part of a team that was promoting this, that
Wow.
ensured that the employees were feeling good around the workplace. So that's when I learned about it. And
When was the first time you ever came to know about mental health?
Mental health for the very first time, see, I'll be very honest, back in the days, back in 2017 or 2018, even though individually speaking, everyone has been everyone is facing this problem of mental or something, and that doesn't have any sort of time frame. It's just that we are just getting that kind of recognition that there is an importance of mental health, and it really plays a very vital role. And for me, I got to know it specifically when I was in my 12th, and it was in the year of 2017, 2018 in between. So at that time, I got to know a lot about mental health and the kind of, and I feel that mental health, this kind of a topic needs to be very much, it should be kind of in a way that it should be explored, or it should be talked about more frequently. Yeah, it is needed.
Mental health, I came to know about it recently, that it matters in my first organization that I started working. So that's where I realized how important it is.
So, what is that one thing, according to you, that people have a misconception about men's mental health? You shared one, that is "Mard ko dard nahi hota."
Yes.
Can you share another?
See, first of all, now not just even there are men who think that there is nothing as such as mental health. I can say that it's my dad. My dad says there is nothing such thing as depression.
Huh.
Okay, when I told my dad in a very normal way, not to oversell it, I told him that, Dad, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling depressed because most of my life I've spent in hostels, so it's never around parents and all. So I told him that, see, I'm not feeling well about this. And his way of saying is that तेरे को खाना मिल रहा है, everything is good, it's good food, good bed, good education. So what else that you're missing? So it's that misconception of saying that if you are, if you have amenities in your life that are good, your life is perfect. That's not going to happen. That's not how it works. Mental health has a huge impact on the growth of a person.
Absolutely.
It did have a huge impact on my life, and it took a lot of time for me to change myself. And I also got this tattoo.
Nirvana, yeah.
So at that moment, I thought of changing my life. I said, okay, this is not how I'm gonna live the rest of my life, and I started changing that. And it took some huge needles into my bloodstream to actually make me remember that, there is nothing that comes, that is going to affect me with my mental health. Okay, so mental health is important for me, and there are a lot of things, maybe people don't have any knowledge regarding mental health. They just assume that it's some kind of thing that new this millennials came up with. No, it is from very past life. They just choose to ignore it,
Yeah.
and I think we have to address this at a larger scale. Otherwise, it's gonna be a huge
Problem. Yeah.
problem. Yes.
One thing that you would like anyone to actually know about when it comes to men's mental health, to take care of, basically.
Yeah, men are fragile. We are not as strong as we try to show off. At least that's my point of view, that we always have these kind of insecurities. Always we feel responsible, take up a lot of responsibilities over and above what we can actually do. Because, again, there are multiple reasons behind it, but we are kind of brought up in such a way that, you have to take care of everything. And because of which, even though we are fragile, at many times it's very, if I have to say honestly, we are not supposed to cry, is what a lot of people say. But I love crying because that kinds of makes it better. If you don't cry and if you keep holding it up, at one or the other point of time it bursts. So yeah, I feel that is one place where we should be more aware that it's not that we have to accept we are fragile. We can also be hurt, and we can cry.
Yeah.
At least that is my opinion. And men should be aware of it more than anyone else, because it is us.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that gets affected.
Mental health for men is kind of like specifically a taboo or a stigma, which I can say, because there has been a lot of instances where I'm not being biased, but that's just a kind of a practicality. If I see that only talking about particularly the men's health, and since this is June is a month for the men's health as well. So even though if a particular individual guy or a woman, a man, he wants to open up, or if he wants to say something or share about his mental health condition, people would not at all kind of look into a perspective. They will only say, yeah, it's just been normal, but it's not at all normal. He no one knows how that particular person has been suffering through, and they just take it on a very lightly, or a very kind of a leniently basis. But it's like, at least let that person open up, or let him speak, and it's kind of if you can't help, but you can at least sit there and listen to that particular individual. At least that would give him a kind of a hope to kind of stabilize his mental health. So,
Somewhere like वो लड़का है वो तो कर ही लेगा.
दिस इज हाँ जी, और ये चीज़ मतलब वी आर जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट 2023, जबकि सारे लोग बोलते कि इक्वालिटी चाहिए. इक्वालिटी तो मतलब हमारे केस में तो होती नहीं है, फिर तो हम वही क्लेम करेंगे. इफ पीपल आर सेइंग कि चलो ये तो लड़का है, ये तो आदमी है, तो इसको तो सब करना ही होता है, तो भाई साहब अगर तुम ऐसा बोलो, तो इफ दिस सेम थिंग इफ वी अप्लाई टू सम डिफरेंट जेंडर, डेफिनेटली अगर हम वुमेन के ऊपर वो चीज़ सेम बोलेंगे, तो दैट वुड क्रिएट अ वेरी बिग प्रॉब्लम. डेफिनेटली, एंड इट वुड बी अ रियली बिग प्रॉब्लम. बट वो सेम चीज़ इफ वी जस्ट टॉक अबाउट स्पेसिफिकली अबाउट मेन, तो दे आर बी ट्रीटेड कि हाँ, इनको तो पूरे अब 10 लेगेसीज आगे चलानी है, इनको सब करना है, इनको वो करना है. एंड द सेम टाइम दिस आर द पीपल वुड आल्सो से दैट कि इक्वलिटी चाहिए दोनों में. तो भाई साहब अगर ऐसा हो कि इक्वलिटी चाहिए दोनों साइड के लिए, तो फिर आप करिए ऐसी चीज़ें. तो आप ऐसा मत करिए कि इफ इज अ गाय तो वो तो कर ही लेगा. ये सबके सारे लोगों के यही कॉमन थॉट्स रहता है. बट यू नेवर नो कि अगर कोई तुम्हें वो राइट टाइम पे सपोर्ट नहीं करे, he would give up eventually in some way. There are definitely some men who are really very super strong that they will come out of it, but
Not everybody
not
is like
everyone
that.
exactly, and totally depends on varies from that person to person individually basis. So in case if he's not getting that kind of support, he will be demotivated, and at the same time you never know that what worse can be happen to that particular person.
Yeah, understand. I mean, you just talked about taboo, and you just broke that stigma. So, high five.
Thank you so much. Oh, so sorry.
So now, as the video was over, you might have noticed a few things. I really want to point out a few things. When men are given a chance to talk about, they actually open up. It's not that men don't want to talk about their feelings, or they don't want to share things. It's just that they have never had the chance to have that safe space, that is someone who they can trust, and someone who empathizes with them. They only need someone who can listen to them. Even today, after COVID hit 3 years ago, mental health is something that is not well known or even talked about amongst men. I mean, people who are in their 20s or even elder They don't even know that mental health is something that exists. And then comes the biggest problem of all things, patriarchy. I mean, it plays a huge role on how men are brought up, what they are taught, how not to cry. It makes you seem weak. Don't be this way, that way. You have to take the burden of the house. Don't talk about your emotions. You can't feel pain. Those kinds of stuff. I think it plays a huge role on how there has always been a wall in front of men when they have grown up and taught these kinds of things, and it became very difficult for them to share about what they're feeling and how they are feeling. So I think it's very important for all of us to smash the patriarchy. Not that I'm saying anyone who shared anything on this video has said something wrong, but I think almost 3 people only out of those 9 people shared that they share whatever they are feeling with someone if they're not feeling okay, if their mental health is affected. I mean, it's the biggest thing of all. We all know how important it is to talk about when it comes to mental health. Uh, it is one of the best ways that you can actually do something when your mental health is affected. The taboo and the misconception around mental health will still be there if we don't educate ourselves, make ourselves aware, and help educate others as well. So the main intention of doing this video was to just strike a conversation between people that I randomly meet every day in my daily life, and also to make sure that anyone who is watching this video questions their mental health, tries to understand more about it, reads more about it, and the biggest thing of all, understands that if you do create a safe space for yourself or anyone else, you will be able to share what you're going through and how important it is to create that safe space. Cheers.